Hello out there again, all my crafty friends. So I have 2 more journals to share with you. I'll probably just do a flip through. I'll see if I can get them both in this one video, but I was, the inspiration for these, first of all, came from these books that I got from work that somebody had just tossed into the recycling bin. And if you look, they really look and feel like leather. And they had I wish I'd have taken a picture of one before I covered them up, but they had like they were like heritage books, and they're not, I think they were from the 80s, but I just gutted them, and this little girl right here was my next inspiration. This image of this little girl that was in an old Ideal book that I'd found at a thrift store, and I was just, just going through and harvesting things, and I had this book, and then I saw her, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would just be beautiful. So this is a little bit different than anything I've ever done. But anyway, so I did her, and then I used some of Jessica's silk fabrics that I bought from her as the cover on the spine, and then I put some little vintage gold buttons down here on the spine. I did not add a charm to this because I think I just didn't want to take away from the fabric. And really, had I been thinking, I probably would have done a hidden spine, but I had this blue twine that I used that matched, so it still turned out pretty, I thought. But had I been using my brain, I probably would have done the hidden spine. But anyway, so then I did this one, and I'm gonna flip through, and then I had purchased a travel ephemera kit from this lady on Etsy called A Bird of Song, and it was just really neat. So a good majority of the things in this book came from that kit. Like just about all of this on the cover, with the exception of the flower and a couple of the buttons, came from her kit. And I love this photograph. So this photograph was what inspired me for this book. And on the front it says enjoy the journey. So this is a travel book. And then this blue fabric underneath was some that I had purchased from Rachel over at Roxy Creations from Italy. And then this crocheted lace was from my vintage, my store that I shop here, Susanna's Antiques. And I put a little charm on here with travel and a little bike and a bead and some really pretty vintage buttons. One of the pearl buttons Brooke sent me. These little vintage buttons came from my shop, and then some little charms from my stash, Tim Holtz and stuff. And of course the little Tim Holtz paper clip and all that good stuff. But I love, and then I've got another one that I'm not quite through yet. Hold on, let me refocus. So this will be coming later. So I did another one with the little angel on front, and then she has the book plate with love, and this came from a vintage thesaurus that I have. Let me put a little charm on her, but I'm not finished with her yet, so that'll be coming later. So let me see if I can get through, at least flip through this one. So it's got 4 signatures, and then this like a muslin tie with a little key tied to the front. And then inside I use this really pretty paper I can't remember what paper line, and I think it might be part of that October Afternoon paper, and then Tim Holtz paper in here. So it's a mixture. And then of course on the inside is that same silk on the inside of the binding. Some tea-dye craft paper. This is from an October Afternoon travel collection. Yeah, because it's got like, these look like stamps. And then what I did was I stitched a piece of acetate and made this a pocket, and then just stuck a little vintage botanical image in here. So you can put whatever you want in here. I didn't put tabs in this one. I kept this one fairly plain. I will give you extra, with all my journals, I might not always show it, but with all my journals, you get an extra pack of goodies to use however you want. And this is some tea-dyed music paper. And I believe it's, is this one of the Italian? Yes, this is an Italian music page. And then this is a Graphics Fairy image postcard that I stitched onto some manila file folder. I'll put that in there. Just some regular, like, cardstock, my tea-dyed paper. And then in here, I'm giving you some extra little goodies. So, like, this is one of my clusters. A little pocket made out of, I think this was some vintage, like, cardstock that I tea-dyed. And then just some little scraps and a book page that I stitched, so you can make a pocket. You can make a pocket out of it, or, you know, whatever you want to do with it. And stuck some little cards in here, or one little card in here, just showing you that you can put whatever you want to in that pocket. And the other side of that Tim Holtz paper. And then I thought she was kind of fitting in here. This little girl, I just stitched her in from a vintage book, children's book. Did I print that? No, that was a printable. I printed that. Envelope that I made, little collage envelope out of a grocery bag. And then I stitched it. Collaged on both sides. So I stuck that in there. So this is kind of, I mean, really is just kind of a sort of random journal. I didn't really have a theme in mind. You know, it's got botanicals and, you know, children. And then this is a patchwork quilt book, pages. And if you can see, like, it's a little dolly. It's a little dolly. Kind of more, you know, girl feminine, more on the feminine side. And just stitched 2 of those pages together from that patchwork quilt book and made a pocket. This is from Childcraft, 1947 Childcraft magazine. I saw the images were really pretty in here. And the other side of that quilted pocket. Scrapbook paper, tea-dyed tracing paper. And then I made some of these, and I stuck one of these in here for you. You can use it like a pocket. It's a image from a vintage botanical garden book, and I just stitched a piece of acetate onto it, and you can attach it. So you can attach it in here and use it as a pocket this way, or you could do as a flip-in. So it just gave you a lot of options to do your thing in this. And then here's a tag that I made, a collage tag, and stitched around it. And then this is just from a vintage book. It's, you know, like the front page from a vintage book. I just thought it was so pretty, so I folded it up and put that in there. So that goes in there. I'm probably going to have to do a separate video for the travel journal, just because I want you to see. I don't want to go through so fast. And this I just stitched in an envelope that it's not a vintage envelope, just a regular envelope that I tea-dyed. And, you know, I've done tea-dyeing a couple of times, and I found that, I don't know how many of you like to tea-dye or whatever. Now, this is from an October afternoon paper, and it's just gorgeous. So I left them in the middle. And on these, I left these long, but I did not put any charms or anything, so I'll let you do what you want to do with that. And like I said, when I send my books, I always send extra goodies with it, so I'll probably throw you some buttons in there too. But back to the tea dyeing. So when I first started tea dyeing, I used just a regular tea, and it just didn't give me the color that I wanted. So I don't know if any of you've ever tried black tea. But black tea works great. This is with black tea. And I bought it at Lowe's and bought like 200 bags for, I don't know, $2. So I use about 10 or 12 bags when I do my tea baths to get a dark. And I let mine soak overnight. Here's another little image with the book page on a piece of grocery bag. paper that you can put in like a pocket as well, but I'm just giving you the option of where you want to put it. And there's another one of those with the acetate. It's beautiful, beautiful butterfly paper. I got this paper pad at Michael's and I just love it. And then one of my little tags that I made out of some vintage book pages just glued together, and then a little vintage botanical image with some vintage fabric. And some other little Project Life cards in here. This one says Bloom, and this is just like a little label. More of that tea-dyed paper, another little vintage book page. And I just thought she was cute. Thought she kind of fit because she's got the little, Mary had a pretty bird. You can see that. And I just stitched that in. And then this is an envelope. This came out of an old kit that I had, so it's a big envelope, and I folded it and just put it like this so you could stick things in there. And you can decorate it however you want. Put your little heart paper clip there. Another pocket page. These are pieces of the Tim Holtz paper that you can use however you want. I put one of my other little tag clusters, so you can put it in, you know, like this, or you need a bigger page, or you could put it in right here, use as a tuck spot. Another couple little pieces that were left over. Well, this piece was left over that I stitched on, and this is another little Project Life card. And then here's a tag that I did kind of finish off with a vintage little girl book page. Vintage book pages here, stitched around to make a tag, and put a little piece of ribbon and lace and a little, like a little vintage rhinestone there on the book. And then this is the back of the book. I don't know if you can really see this paper here. Anyway, so I kept this one, you know, of course these two papers are sort of busy next to each other, but you can see the texture in this book. It's just really pretty color, and I just really had a lot of fun. This flower came from, I forgot to tell you this flower and this little piece of lace came from Roxy Creations, and then this was one of my vintage buttons. So that's on the front. So that's the little girl. And then there's a lot of stitching. There's a lot of threads I left on. You can cut all that off if you don't like that, for sure. But I'm going to put her, she'll be in my Etsy shop here soon too. And anyway, thank you guys for stopping by, and thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment. And please hit the like and subscribe if you like what I'm making. And thank you for all your love and support. I really do appreciate you. And I'll be back in the next video, and I'll do the flip through of the travel journal. Thank you guys. I hope everybody's having a great day. Bye.